Give us some signals if we're... Hey, good morning everyone, and welcome to my kitchen. If you don't know me, I'm Farmer Corinna, the farmer's wife, and here's Katie Jardin, our CSA coach, and we are total Twinkies today because we wore the same shirt.
Farm Twinkies.
Yeah.
Farm Twinkies, I like it.
I love it.
I love
it. In case you guys don't know, Katie, do you want to give them the news? I don't know if they know.
Oh, that I'm here.
Yeah.
That I'm expecting. Yeah. So I didn't just stop eating veggies.
So she's like, I don't know if I can fit in that anymore.
I'm like, we have to wear it this time because I don't know if
do.
next time I'll be able to fit into it. So I'm trying to wear it as much as possible.
Thank you for this gift. It's cute.
You're welcome.
So today we're going to talk about all things radish. And I don't know about you, Katie, but some people tend to be, and I know I sometimes am, kind of afraid of radishes.
I feel like most people are scared of radishes.
Yeah. Didn't you tell me it's on the top 3?
Top 3 most feared veggies to have to prepare that can show up in your box. So,
yeah. I wonder if that's the case for some of you, but we are going to try and dispel the fear of radishes today. I think a lot of times people are thinking, oh, they're so spicy, you know, and I don't like spicy, or maybe all they've ever done is eaten them raw.
I feel like most people, the only time they've maybe ever had a radish is like just like this guy sitting on your salad plate at a restaurant, and they don't really know what to do with it.
Right.
And if you don't like it that one first time, you're probably not going to go out to the store and buy them.
Right. So we are going to try and show you lots of different ways to use radishes today so you can overcome some of those fears. And we actually have a Radish Ebook that I put together as part of the ebook library, and you can get it at radishes-ebook. Radishes-ebook. I'm sorry, I didn't make it simpler, but that's the way it is. So in that ebook, it's got a ton of different instructions for how to roast, different ways you can use them. There's recipes.
How to use the greens.
Yeah.
Talk about how to use greens.
How to freeze. So everything we're going to go over in this video, most of it's going to be in there, and I think you'll find that helpful. So definitely grab that and go check it out. So we are going to start by just showcasing some of the radishes that we grow on our farm. I only have 2 here to show you. We grow daikon radishes. We grow, which is like a fall, long, skinny, white type of radish, more for Asian cooking, very spicy. And then we grow 3 kinds of kind of pink radishes. And so these are the globe radishes. Is that what they're called, Kurt?
Yep.
And then these are the oriental radishes. Sometimes they're even longer than this. And then we have a French breakfast radish, which kind of looks like this one, but it has a little white tip. Real beautiful. And so those are some of the different varieties that you might see in your box. They typically show up in the fall and in the spring, because if we try to grow them in the summer, they get real spicy. So farmers usually don't grow radishes in the summer. You should not expect them then. So they're a spring and a fall crop, and you'll probably see them show up a few times on the front end and the back end of the season in the CSA. So we're going to start out by roasting, because I have learned that that's when their flavor really shines, when they can kind of caramelize a little bit. So you want to show people how that works.
Yeah, so when you get your radishes, we're not going to roast the greens. We'll talk about storing in a few minutes, but when you're roasting the radishes, we're just going to roast the actual radish, and you just want to wash them and then cut them up into pieces that are about the same size, so that way they're all going to roast at the same time period, so you're not going to have some that are more done than others. So it's okay if they're not.
Cut them even smaller if you want to.
You can cut them smaller if you wanted them to cook faster. You could leave them whole if you really wanted to. You just want to make sure that they're all about the same size. And then you're just going to use your standard, I'm going to say like roasting method. You're going to preheat your oven to 400, 425. You're going to put some oil and some salt and pepper on them, and throw them on the cookie sheet and let them roast. Yeah. So if you're still intimidated by radishes, you're just kind of like getting your family to try them, I want to say you can mix these with other veggies. So like if you're roasting potatoes and you decide you want to try out some roasted radishes, but you're not sure you want to dive in and have it be like a side dish for dinner that night, you can always mix them with some other veggies. They're not going to take as long, usually just like 10-15 minutes, maybe 15 minutes to roast. So if you're roasting something heartier like Brussels sprouts or potatoes, you could always have these ready and just add them in that last 10 to 15 minutes with your potatoes, and that way at least you or your family could try some roasted radishes without having necessarily an entire plate of radishes.
Good idea.
So pretty easy, and we'll talk about what to do with some of these greens.
I want to save the greens. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, you never want to throw anything away that we can use. Yeah, so we're going to pour a little bit of oil. Do you have...
You gotta take the top off. It's brand new.
I didn't realize it's brand new.
I stopped my fiscal fast and I finally got to buy some olive oil. Okay. What did you need?
Oh, a spoon.
A spoon on it.
Sorry.
You're okay. We're live. That's what happens.
So we are just going to...
Oh, a bigger spoon.
That's fine. So I put them in a bowl first just so I can evenly coat them, and then use some salt and pepper. Salt and pepper are like my go-to when it comes to roasting. I usually just
got it. All right.
Put a little bit on.
Sea salt's good too.
Yeah, kosher salt, sea salt. Roasting radishes, if you've ever taken a big bite of a radish, they're pretty peppery or like spicy. That's why a lot of people, I think, kind of get turned off. But roasting them totally changes the flavor. It takes away that spiciness. It actually makes them a little sweeter. And they're really a high moisture veggie, so they really are kind of juicy when you roast them. It's not as hearty as like a potato. So I feel like it's a really good option for summertime to be able to roast some radishes as like a lighter side dish instead of something like heartier like potatoes.
So this is on some foil. Just keep your cookie sheet
nice.
On
some foil. You could not use foil if you wanted to. We're just going to put them in the oven.
In a preheated oven. And how much time is that going to take?
I'm going to say probably about 15 minutes, but I would check it around 10 and kind of see what you think. You could always try a little bite. So it's 10:46, 11:46.
All right. So in the meantime, we're going to show you some other things that we can do with radishes while that's cooking. And hopefully we won't go past 15 minutes. We're going to try to time it so that this is all done when the radishes are finished. So can you talk a little bit about how we would store the radishes while we're...
Yeah, so like we mentioned, you would get these radishes in the first few weeks of summer. And they're going to be one of your critical things when you get your box home. So because they have leaves, and so anytime anything has greens or leaves, you want to think, should I cut those off? Because you probably should. So if you just throw these in your refrigerator with the leaves attached, the leaves are going to continue to draw moisture from the radish, and that's going to really create a not so good radish. So
make it floppy.
Yeah, it's going to draw that moisture out. So what you want to do first thing when you get home is, if you've got 10 minutes or 5 minutes, you cut the greens off, even if you don't have time to do very much else, and just store them separately in your fridge. So when I get these radishes home, if I have time, best situation, I'm going to wash them. I'm going to put them in a bag, maybe with a paper towel, a green bag, or even a Ziploc bag. Radishes are pretty hardy in the refrigerator. I feel like they're going to store well for at least a week, if not 2 weeks. Or you could also store them in a bowl of cold water, and that is going to make them last for a long time too.
Keep them real crisp. We change the water out every few days, but yeah, that makes them real nice and crisp.
So you've got some time with radishes once you get them home. I mean, with this part of the radish. So when it comes to the greens, now I put those in my bag. I've got them in my fridge. Best situation is I'm going to wash these and spin them so they're dry, and then I'm going to store them in a green bag or in a Ziploc bag, maybe with a paper towel. I'm going to store those that way. If I don't have time to wash and spin them, I'm going to keep them in the fridge in a bag, but I'm going to know that I've got to get to them soon. So I've only got a couple days for these.
Right.
So that's going to be more on like your critical list. You've got to maybe have a little bit of a plan for the greens if you plan on using them.
And we'll talk about how you can use the greens. A lot of people don't even know you can eat the greens, but you can, and they're quite tasty.
Yeah, whenever you have greens to veggies, even if you don't know what to do, you should Google it.
Yeah.
Just be like, radish greens.
Let me see what I can make.
Or search the group. There's always a search box.
Right. And in our ebook, we have some recipes actually for how to use those greens. So why don't we start working on, we're going to do some pickle some radishes next. Yeah. And I actually made some of these last week so that I could show them to you. This is what the finished product looks like. This is a refrigerator pickle, so I didn't actually put them in a canning system. So I just, after I cooked it, I just stuck it right in there, and they have to sit about 3 days before you can enjoy them. They're cooked for several weeks, and they're quite yummy. So we're going to make, this recipe is actually in the Radish Ebook, so that's the one we're going to make. And what we need is, Katie, do you want to throw in
some water?
Some water. We need about half a cup. So we're going to take some hot water, and I always boil the water because we're going to have to dissolve the sugar and the salt in it, and it just seems like it does that easier when it's nice and hot, piping hot. All right, so then we're going to pour that, just pour that in here, and we're going to take the recipe. We just halved the recipe today that's in your ebook. So we're going to take half a tablespoon of salt for this size pint jar. We're going to put in 3 tablespoons of sugar, and then a quarter of a cup of some kind of vinegar. So the original recipe called for rice vinegar. I'm using apple cider today. They're pretty interchangeable.
I think so.
And then you're going to shake it up real good. This is so easy. You're going to shake it up real good so that it dissolves.
This is so easy.
So easy.
It's going to take like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's going to be good in your refrigerator all summer long to use a really healthy condiment addition to meals.
To your sandwiches.
Yes.
Amazing. So then we've already pre-chopped these, but we took some radishes. You want to make sure they're the same size. You could chop them even smaller if you want. This is probably, I don't know if I would go any bigger than this, but, and we're just going to stick it in here. If I had my phone thing, it's
super easy.
Yeah.
So you could add these to tacos, on top of salads. It's a really health, fresh condiment instead of using some of the pre-bought like store stuff. It's colorful. I also feel like this is something fun for kids to do to learn how to pickle. It's an easy job to get them involved in the kitchen.
Right.
And then it's going to be fun. They're probably going to want to eat some of their like pickles out of the refrigerator on their meals.
Yeah.
So
I just used an old jar that had a lid. You can use a mason jar too. And I try to use something that when I shake it's not going to come leaking out. But that's it. Then I'm going to stick it in my fridge, and in about 3 days I can start eating them. Super easy. Yeah. So that's something you can do with radishes as well, and I encourage you to try it.
Does it need to seal at all, or?
No, because this is a refrigerator pickle, you don't have to do any of that process. It's a good question.
yeah.
So that is pickling. Let's talk about, do we want to try doing a quick blanch?
Yeah.
Or
So the other option when we're talking about storing veggies is you have these in your refrigerator, you end up having a crazy weekend week, you don't get to use them, you're afraid they're going to go bad, you know you don't have any time over the next few days to eat them, but you want to store them. Maybe you're on radish overload and you don't feel like eating them right now. You've already got your pickles. So you can freeze radishes, but you have to blanch them first. Otherwise, it's too much moisture for them in the refrigerator. We've got to cook them first, or cook them quickly first to kind of stop those enzymes. So we've done some blanching videos in the past. We did one on spinach, if you want to reference that one. You're going to use the same process to blanch the radishes. So you're not going to skin them or anything, you're just going to slice them. And no matter what type of radish you have, you can use all these methods, right? So whether you have the globe radish or
the French breakfast, or the daikon.
It's going to be the same.
Katie, when would you use a frozen radish? So I have them in my freezer. When am I going to pull them out? What am I going to throw them into?
I would probably, they're not going to be as crisp, obviously. You could throw them into more of a salad. They're going to be a little mushy though. I don't know. I can't think. I've actually never had. You could try doing a soup. They're not going to be peppery anymore. I mean, they're not going to be bitter. They're going to be sweeter.
Yeah.
Tacos or stir fry, you might just have to kind of experiment.
Yeah.
I'll have to let you know. I will freeze them this summer and I will experiment and see.
Yeah. If you have any suggestions, put it in the comments. I know some of you have frozen radishes before, and you can share what you've done with them. So we're just going to slice a few of these. We're just going to do a quick sample. We're not going to do a ton of these. These will have to, we're preparing a thing of water back here that I put a little bit of salt in. You always want to put some salt in your water when you're blanching. We're also preparing an ice water bath because we're going to blanch, we're going to dump these radishes into the boiling water for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then That's just long enough. You don't want to go any longer, they'll get mushy. And then we're going to dunk them right into the ice water bath, and we're going to leave them in there for about 2 to 3 minutes. However long you blanched them for is the rule of thumb. And that immediately stops the cooking process. And then we'll be able to just dry them off and throw them into a Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
So this is pretty close.
Pretty close?
Yeah.
So you want to cut them kind of small because you're only going to blanch them for a few minutes. You want to make sure that they do cook. And we're just going to throw them into our boiling salt water.
And we're going to watch the clock, 10:54, and we'll leave them in there for a couple minutes. While that's boiling, you want to check the radishes are looking good?
They're looking good. Yeah.
Good.
2 more minutes.
Let's talk a little bit about some things that you can do. How can you use radishes in general? We have...
Yeah, so I feel like I've never been a person that wants to just eat a whole radish on a salad. That doesn't look the best to me, and I do. They are a little spicy to me. So I think grating or shredding or chopping them fine and sprinkling them over a salad or sprinkling them over things makes me more likely to eat them. I know one of our CSA members says that she also likes to kind of shred them and use them that way, make a slaw, or just sprinkling them on things like tacos, sandwiches. So I tend to think of them more as like a condiment of things that I'm just gonna, that's why I like to have them ready in the refrigerator, like an addition to a meal, maybe just like a tablespoon here or there, unless I roast them. Then I feel like they're more of a veggie that I can eat as like a side dish.
You can also grill. Roasting and grilling are very similar.
Yeah.
Like if you throw a little bit of olive oil or butter.
You could slice them, you could put them on like the veggie skewers. So if radishes intimidate you, I highly recommend mixing them with other veggies, not serving your family like a bowl of radishes. So if you do some veggie skewers or you're roasting some other veggies, always mixing them in. They are fantastically colorful, so I think they're a good addition to summer meals.
One of the things that several of our customers in our Facebook group say they do with radishes, anytime I bring this up, they talk about how they put sliced radishes and put it on really good crusty bread with some butter, and they just put some salt on top. And that is really, really good. I grew up with a German mother, and so she loved to eat good bread, and she would often do that. She would just put a nice coating of butter on there and slice up her radishes and then sprinkle salt on top. That's pretty key. But that's super yummy, so definitely give that a shot as well. Soups, kimchi. I've never made this. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, kimchi with
I've never made that.
Cabbage.
Yeah, I've never made that. I'm going to learn that this summer, but we're going to do a little training for you guys here.
Spicy one.
But stir fries, you mentioned that, and then you can braise them. There's actually a braised recipe in this ebook that you can look at. So those are some suggestions to start with of how you can use them.
I like the idea of making sure you have some of them washed and ready in the fridge, because if I know that I have to like wash something extra that's just going to be a small addition to my meal, I'm probably not going to do it. So when you're getting comfortable with this stuff, you know, I would try to have something ready to go in the refrigerator.
All right, I think it's ready. Let's grab that thing with water, ice water, so we don't have to do that over there. Perfect. So we have a nice cold bowl of ice water. You don't need to get a strainer. You can get that wire spider strainer.
Okay. So these lost a little bit of their color by boiling them, which is totally okay. They do have some water-soluble stuff that we tend to lose when we blanch, but there's other nutrients that sometimes get a little bit higher when we blanch. So the ice bath is really important because that's what stops the cooking process.
And they're going to sit in there for
just a couple minutes.
2 to 3 minutes, right?
Yep. And then we'll take them out.
We'll dunk strain that as well. All right, so is that getting close? We have another 5 minutes maybe? You want to be stirring it occasionally? Look in my little blue, there it's on my little plastic bag. And before we finish up, we want to talk to you a little bit about how you can use the greens of the radishes, because those are often, I think a lot of people just compost those, frankly, in most cases. And I know that sometimes I do that too.
Yeah.
But I have been freezing or blanching the greens as well, kind of like I do with kale or spinach, and then I just put them in the freezer and I add them to soups.
Stir fries.
And you can't, I mean, they don't taste spicy or weird.
Like red pasta sauces, you can always add some cooked greens too, especially if you blend them up first. No one will ever know that they're there.
Yeah.
So I know one of the recipes in the ebook is a pesto, which is a good kind of go-to if you're not sure what to do with the greens of pretty much any veggie. You can probably find a good pesto recipe.
substitute it for spinach or.
And you can always freeze
basil.
pesto too, so you could freeze it in like ice cube trays and just kind of use a little bit here and there for the next few months. So I think pesto is a good one. A lot of times I will actually cook the greens with whatever veggie I'm eating, I guess I'm going to say. So sometimes if I have like beet greens or radish greens or turnips, I will try to think about, can I just cook the greens with the veggie and kind of keep it simple that way. So one of my go-tos for these guys is to throw a little bit of oil in the pan.
So this is our final kind of demonstration for how you can combine the root and the greens, right?
Yeah. So I use a cast iron pan because I have to put this pan into the oven. So I like to have a preheated oven to like 400, 425, 450 is fine. And I saute the radishes for a few minutes first in the pan, and then I actually roast them for a few minutes, and then I take it back out and I throw the greens in. So once you know that your family or yourself, once you've realized that radishes are delicious when they're cooked and that the flavor is different, I think this is a really good, easy, fast side dish. It doesn't require a lot. Just olive oil, your radishes, your greens, some salt and pepper, and I usually put some lemon juice on it, but I don't get super fancy.
So this is almost like you're going to roast them again, but you're just roasting it in.
I'm kind of roasting them again.
Sauteing and roasting.
Sauteing them first.
Right.
And I don't remember how I originally came about this, but it's just the way that I do it. So I chop them up, and a lot of times when I am chopping them up, I don't worry about, I don't know what this is called, like all the little
roots.
Yeah, the little roots. I leave all those on, and I don't necessarily leave all those on if I'm buying radishes or if I'm buying veggies from the grocery store, but I know when they are locally grown and organic, I'm not scared of a little dirt. And I don't necessarily mean that you should eat like handfuls of dirt, I'm sure I'd like to see. But I'm going to say your dirt's really good, and there's a lot of research that's showing that the closer you eat to home, the better it is for your overall microbiome and gut health. So a little bit of dirt on your veggies, I don't even know if I want to say dirt, but just don't scrub them to death. Just don't be scared of a little bit of
soil, Katie, soil.
Okay, soil. Soil on your veggies, because it's actually really good for you. And the bacteria that's in it is good bacteria for your gut. So I tend to leave all that soil, I guess you could say, some of that soil on.
You want to get a little closer and just see what this is.
So
you're kind of caramelizing them a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just couple minutes, and some oil, some salt and pepper. Actually, I can probably take those out pretty soon too. And switch them.
And then you'll throw these back in there and roast them for 5-10 minutes as well? Or how long will this
Probably just 5 to 10 minutes. I'll show you this. I'm actually going to take these out.
Yeah, why don't you set them, you want to put the...
So these, you can see, super, super easy, super pretty. Turn it off.
Yum, I want to eat them.
Yeah.
So you can almost... So it's almost like this is what we're going to end up with in that.
Kind of, yeah.
It'll be
you
a
could
similar
probably
roasted.
simplify the recipe that I'm doing now. It's just
and then you're just going to toss that with some greens.
I'll take it out and just I'll quick do it so you can see. But so these are actually pretty soft, and they are super juicy. They're better than. They're a good addition to a summer meal because they're not going to be as hearty and as heavy sometimes as like a potato. And if you're nervous about it, then I would just mix it with some other veggies. But so easy. Roasting is so easy. That took like 15 minutes, and there was only 3 ingredients.
That is kind of potatoey. This would be
It
really
is
good
kind of
potatoes.
potatoey. You could mix it together. If your family's nervous about it, you could tell them they're purple potatoes. That's
You kind of. When I first put it in my mouth, it was sort of potatoey. delicious.
You could also add some, so salt and pepper are really easy, like safe go-to for roasting, but you could also add thyme. Thyme is really good with radishes. You could add a little bit of lemon. I saute those for a few minutes. I usually put them and roast them for maybe 5 to 10 minutes to kind of finish them up a little bit, and then I would get my greens ready, which I thought I had ready. So these were just the greens from the...
Let me move this out of the way or we're going to burn ourselves.
Greens from the top. So if I use one bunch of radishes, I'm just going to use one bunch of greens, and I just wash them. And so if I pulled my cast iron, another good reason to have a cast iron.
It's on our list of CSA kitchen tools, isn't it?
I would turn the heat back on. I would simply tear up the greens. And now if you weren't so sure if your family was going to be into the greens, you don't have to use a ton to start. I mean, you could start with just a little bit.
But this is, you could add greens to pasta dishes or soups and
Oh,
the same thing.
absolutely.
I mean, it really
Absolutely.
does wilts down, and that radishy flavor does not really come through.
Don't put that.
Too high.
So I just cook them until they wilt a little bit. A lot of times I add a little bit more salt and pepper or a little bit of lemon juice. And that's pretty much it until they wilt. And that is a really good, easy side dish where I use all the greens and the entire bunch of radishes.
Yeah.
It's not going to be bitter.
Yeah.
You can also add garlic, some leeks, some onions. I mean, you could definitely spice it up, but it's going to be a pretty easy side dish. And that's it. So I would be done.
Yep. Super easy. I've also heard people say they put their radish greens in scrambled eggs.
Scrambled eggs, omelets, a great place to kind of get in some greens.
Yeah. So I want to challenge you to try and find one time this year, one dish where you can use those radish greens. I know it's kind of tough to do it every single time. You can start taking over, but try to do something with it once. Worst case scenario, you can freeze them, and then in the winter time, you can throw them into your soups and stuff. So
Pickle.
if you want to learn how to blanch or freeze the greens of the radish, you should watch the blanching spinach video and just substitute the greens of the radish instead.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
gosh, Kurt, do we have any questions?
No questions. No.
Perfect. So, any last final thoughts, nutrition thoughts on radishes?
They are really good for digestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they actually have, that's how they started being served, just like a little random radish with a meal before your meals, because they're supposed to aid in like digestion and help with indigestion and bloating and like gut issues with your meal. So that's kind of how the whole radish with a salad before your meal got started. So if you have gut issues or indigestion, you'll have to try including a radish with your dinner and let us know how it goes.
I love these little nuggets that you drop every
Yeah,
now
really
and then.
good for gut health.
Well, that's all we have. This was Everything Radish. I want to encourage you to check out our Radish Ebook. You can get that again at sharedlegacyfarms.com/radishes-ebook. Radishes-ebook. Thanks for joining us, guys, and check us out on our YouTube channel and subscribe, okay? Have a great one.
Have a good one.
Bye.